All right, what's going on, guys? So, going to record the stage session. Pretty much we talked about it, what we were looking for. Now we ended up closing above here on this hourly time frame. So a part of me starts to think because this 4 hour candle right now has about 2 hours and 40 minutes to go. But because we already had a little bit of a liquidity pool sweep and then push up, I personally think that we might just start to head higher now. So I took a position right here, stop loss below the buys of the candles. I'm gonna see if we can get that prior week high up in here taken out. And I have the buy of the candle that's kind of right there, but we'll see. I really want to see this kind of like pushing up again to the prior week highs. Um, yeah, so we'll kind of wait, see. And yeah, I took this also on the evals that I have on the side of my computer right now. And we'll see. We'll go ahead see how this ultimately plays out. But yeah, kind of want to record these types of trades for you guys and kind of to show you how I execute on these types of plays. Now, some people are always worried, like, hey, what happens if the market ultimately comes down, back down into this area, right? Like the fair value gap and the body of the candle. Well, the thing is this: I am personally okay with that because I am assessing my risk according to this. So, for example, if you're someone who risks, let's just say, $1,000 per trade on a specific setup, you could just do $500 if you want, right? Or you could just be someone who's like, you know what, I'll just risk like let's just say $1,000 and then $1,000, I'm gonna risk again. Um, that's gonna be up to your own trade management profile. For me personally, again, I'm gonna risk the same on this trade as I would on that trade. Now, for me personally, it doesn't like for me personally, again, I'm okay, like, if this comes down, drops, and then comes back down to that area, taking a position because if this is the buy point and the market starts rallying and this 4 hour candle closes above and we start to, trade above into the prior week highs, I want to have some sort of exposure on this trade because I like the trade, right? I think on the daily time frame we have room to push up again to that prior week highs, and the weekly time frame I talked about it in the Discord as I'm sorry, in the Telegram that we looks like we created the bottom wick of this weekly candle and possibly going to push up to next liquidity pool. We also have a little bit of a volume imbalance in there as well. So again, I want some exposure on this, so I'm okay if this ultimately doesn't if the move is not right now and then I have to take another position later, then yeah. But I guess I think what some people are so scared of is they're scared of getting stopped out on a trade, not understanding like you could always just take another attempt. For me personally, I always have I give myself two attempts on a trade. So if a trade does not work initially and then I get a secondary setup, again, I'm not just revenge trading. If I take a second trade on something that sets up later, then I am okay with taking that second setup. And if I lose on that one, guess what, guys? It's perfectly fine as well. Like that's just part of the game. I think so many people are scared of losses that they overthink it. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if this could be the point where the market starts to rally. I'll update you guys as the trade goes along, and we'll see how this ultimately plays out. All right, guys. So again, drop down close to that 50% mark of the buy point. So we'll see if that kind of holds up. And realistically, in the next 30 minutes, I just want to see this candle start to have like a little bit of a push up. And then if we can get a strong closure above here, that's typically what I like to see when I enter these positions. So we'll wait and see what happens. And if the market does come down into this fair value gap, I already have my plan in place where again I put my risk on for this specific trade. And if the market does indeed come lower, then I'll start to look for a secondary setup down in here during if it's gonna be this session during this session, or if it's gonna be like in the overnight session, probably that one. But let's see. Again, nothing wrong as of right now. Drop into the area, the buy point still valid. Again, some people they'll start to see a little bit of a drop. The market hasn't moved, and they start to automatically they just start to freak out a little bit. But again, I've been doing this for a very long time, so this is just a very normal move. And again, if you know what your system and strategy is, all you do as a trader is come in and you just execute. You don't think about anything else. You just come in, you execute, win, lose or draw. You just got to follow the plan. All right, guys. So I entered another position there as the market came into this area, into this buy point in here, around the 50%, just to add to my position. It was a small added risk. So let's see if we can kind of get that expansion move higher. Now I am going to go for out to dinner. So I'll try to update this one as soon as possible. But yeah, I'm going to pause the recording. And yeah, so if this ends up hitting a TP, which again is my prior week high, which is like right up there, which I usually use the rejection block, which is the buys of the candles as my target. I'll update accordingly after the fact. But yeah, Just wanted to show you guys I added that extra position right there. And let's see if we can kind of get that expansion. This is what I like to see, especially on the 15-minute, having this type of candle even further reacts as well. And we have a bunch of liquidity overhead. Like if we zoom in over here, we have a bunch of liquidity. So let's see. Um, I already have my alerts. Let me move the alert actually up here. And then kind of let's see if we can get that real big expansive move higher. All right, guys. So I'm gonna just try to keep this recording because we're getting that expansion move outside of that. So this is kind of exactly what I want to look for. Now the prior day high is gonna be the first objective, and then I want to see like a big spike as we're seeing kind of here on the 15-minute. This is nice, but I want to see like something like this, to be honest. On this big push up. The next 15-minute candle is kind of, yeah, right here. So I want us to see, I adjust my stop loss to the low of that candle. So I want to see us just have like another candle like this, again, like this, where maybe we dip down just a little bit to grab a little bit more liquidity, but I want us to have that big expansive move higher. So we'll see if we get that or not. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the recording playing and see how this one ultimately plays out. But yeah, I really want to see that 15-minute bar just really rack up. Now, to be honest, if someone wanted to like add to a position like here, this would typically be like what I would do. But again, because it's Asia session, I'm usually a little bit more hesitant on adding during Asia session. So I'm not going to add into position, but usually like if this was New York Open or something like that, I would usually add a position right there. Because again, like the original risk was down here, right? Now that I adjusted the risk is almost halved at this point. So now I could add the remaining position. So what do I mean by that? If I was risking $1,000 as an example, and now the risk would be minus 500 if we hit stop loss, I can then add a position here where the stop loss would be an additional $500. So that would put me at the original risk of 1,000, and then and I could look for that move up higher and stuff like that. Now you see this is exactly why this usually is a adding position for me, because number one, we have the 15-minute EBP candle, and then we got that beautiful retest of this prior structure. And then again, I'm looking to have, again, 12 minutes till this 1 hour candle closes, but I'm anticipating this candle to have a strong closure above here. So let's see if we can kind of get that expansion move higher all the way up into these highs. All right, so now we're getting that expansion move up. We hit that first objective, but I want to see us push even further. And then I'll start to consider taking some profits. At the very least, above prior day highs, I want to see us a quick, swift move higher, and then we'll kind of go from there. Oops, yep. But yeah, so we hit that objective one, but I want to see even further push up. So this just looks right for the taking, so I'm going to try to hold off. At the very least, let's see if we can get to that rejection block. All right, and I'll probably just take out the position if we get up in here, to be honest. That's the one thing about Asia session. I usually want to go out to dinner or do stuff. I don't want to be stuck here all night just trading. So we'll see if we just get to that. I just want, again, one more spike up above this area, and then we'll be taking profit, and then we'll be calling it pretty much a good solid session. And yeah, so the reason I'm looking on my other screen right now is because I did take this on an EVA that I'm working on the future side. So yeah. So I'm just trying to wait for this a little bit of a spike up to take profit. So hopefully it happens soon. Okay, so we're getting that push up. Almost there. Let me delete that. This is the type of reaction you always want to get at these levels. This is a good example of this. Okay, push up here. Let's go exit that. Okay, and right there, beautiful push higher. Up about $1,200 as of right now. And I'm going to close it out right there. Okay, beautiful exit. Now, again, this could, again, I do think we're going to go up to the prior week high, but again, man, sometimes this is why I kind of hate trading Asia session. Just because, again, I'll have things I got to do for dinner. So, yeah. Also took it on the eval. The eval is up nice as well. So, almost done with that, working on that. And yeah, guys, beautiful, easy, quick trade, and this is the power of the EBP. So glad I caught this on recording for you guys. And again, how many people during that drop would have probably got scared, and then they usually end up like overthinking it. They think that we're going to go all the way down here. And again, when you have the plan that you already outlined, stick to it. And that's the reason why I want to really record this. Now, this probably does have a big rip, and I get FOMO a little bit later, but it is what it is. I'm going to take my piece of the pie during Asia session, and then we'll look to see if there's any other setups going into New York.